On today's Toy Spot, we're going to be having a look at the Star Wars Empire Strikes Back Vintage Collection figures. Today, we're going to be looking at Darth Vader. Having liked the Boba Fett so much, it was enough that I went back and I was lucky enough to find the Darth Vader as well. Surprisingly, the Darth Vader was not one of the ones I picked up first. As you can see, the classic Kenner Star Wars Empire Strikes Back card featuring Darth Vader on the front there. It's so nice to kind of see these old cards back in the retail stores. The only thing that is a downer to the fact that these are the original cards or similar reproductions of the original cards is the fact that it's got the original pegged holes in the card. Most pegged cards now tend to have an opening now that you can actually unhook the card. So even if you want a Vader that's 5 or 6 cards back, you just merely unhook the one that you want and pull it out. Growing up any time in the 80s and I guess really into the early 90s when these cards still had a completely sealed hole. I know growing up picking up G.I. Joes, you wanted a certain G.I. Joe, you had to pull out 10 or 11 carded figures to find the one that you want. I obviously remember going to Kmart and some real little turd children would just pull these cards out, just drop them on the floor, completely, like, no regard whatsoever, just until they found the one that they wanted. Would they pick them up afterwards? No, they would not. Can't see what I'm doing right now, but I'm shaking my head. Just lack of regard. Some of the kids nowadays. Kids back then. Just kids. But we have a nice little card here featuring Darth Vader in the front. On the back, we've got the actual real image of the Empire Strikes Back card that had Darth Vader on it. Exactly the same. The only thing that they've got on this one here is we've got Star Wars. We got free Star Wars action figure survival kit with the purchase of any 5 Star Wars figures. See back of action figure package for details. So you had that. This card looks to be from 1980 to 1982. So I would have been about 4. How's that? So celebrate the legendary Star Wars saga that changed the universe forever by taking us to a galaxy far, far away. Iconic Star Wars heroes and villains are captured with incredible detail and premium features. May the Force be with you. The other figures in this wave, we have Cloud Car Pilot, Dengar, we've got Luke Skywalker, Leia, and Han Solo. While some of them really like the Cloud Pilot are not ones I would pick up, very interested by the Luke Skywalker, Leia, and Han Solo. But that's packaging on Darth Vader. What we'll do, we'll get this opened up, and we will have a better look at Sith Lord Darth Vader. Stay tuned. And now out of package, let's have a look at Darth Vader. This is actually the very first Darth Vader I've ever owned. Did I choose wisely? Well, it is a very nice looking figure. As you can see, they've got the cloth skirt, I guess it's cloth robe and cloth cape. The cape doesn't sit as well as I had hoped. It does tend to flop around quite a bit. I guess the intent is that you would want to fan the cape out. Personally, I'm more inclined to want to have the cape kind of tucked further back. Does go all over the place though. The loop here, I guess, from his cape also just kind of sits out. It doesn't really do anything. Just kind of just sits out there. Detailing is nice. Detailing on his helmet is very nice. I really have one glaring problem with the helmet, and it's actually something that I didn't comment on when I did the review of Boba Fett, and that was the fact that his helmet could actually come off. I shot the entire review of Boba Fett, not once mentioning that his helmet could come off. I will mention it here, however, because this represents one of the biggest issues I have with this figure, and it is this helmet. This helmet, as you can see, kind of just flops all over the place. The reason for it is because you can actually take the helmet off, as well as the front face plate. And then what you've got underneath is the classic Anakin Skywalker. Not the Hayden Christensen Darth Vader, but the classic Anakin Skywalker. You were right, Luke. You were right. I like the fact that you can take the helmet off, and I know this is a reuse of a previously released Vader that had the same feature. In fact, I think the majority of the vintage figures are reusing most, if not all, of an original figure or a previously released figure. What I don't like, though, is the fact that his helmet and his faceplate doesn't really even sit. There's no place where it actually seems like it actually sits snug, where it actually doesn't want to fall off. It comes even more of a problem when you get everything on. Like, for example, I get the faceplate on, I get the helmet on here. And I mean, right off the bat, unfortunately, it means like articulation, unless you hold it from the neck. As soon as you start moving it from the helmet, this whole helmet just basically falls apart on you. Not entirely a bad thing, I suppose. For anyone who collects Darth Vader figures, you probably have several Darth Vaders, and so therefore it's not a big deal that this particular one has the removable helmet and faceplate, because you probably have a Vader anyways that doesn't have it. I think, personally, I don't know if I probably would have packaged a non-removable helmet Vader in this particular set. I don't recall the actual original Empire Strikes Back Vader, actually that figure from the original card actually having any removable faceplate. So I think just sticking to the whole theme that if somebody was buying a original Vader, to go back and buy a vintage collection Vader, maybe you'd be more inclined to want to get a Vader that doesn't have a removable helmet, because as it stands now, this unfortunately keeps falling off for me. Darth Vader also features his lightsaber. Oh! Ooh, gotta grab it from the hilt. Standard use lightsaber. Be nice if they could eventually get to the point where they put like a little white strand actually in the middle, just to make it look a little more lit up. Because half the time it just looks like a piece of plastic. But we've got the fantastic lightsaber. There goes the helmet falling off again. It looks like his hand is really only designed that he holds the lightsaber in the one hand. The other hand is, I guess, set aside for choking, sandwich eating, anything where you would need an open hand. Vader perhaps wants to ask for money. By the way, as a side note, Vader does ask you for money. Would advise probably giving him money. You don't want to really jerk around Vader when it comes to money. If the guy wants money, you give him money. He is overall a decent figure, and being that this is the first Vader that I've owned, I am happy with it. I'm not really happy 100% the fact that his helmet and faceplate moves around as much as it does. I wish they could have secured it a little bit better, or again, being that this is a vintage figure, supposedly, I would have just opted for a regular helmet Vader and just, kept the removable faceplate helmet and everything else for another figure. Speaking of articulation, and speaking of how this helmet is a hindrance to it, he does seem to have a ball-jointed head, although this, again, becomes an ongoing issue. This blasted strap becomes an issue as well. He has what looks to be a ball-jointed shoulder. You can rotate the arm at the elbow. You can bend the elbow. You You can also rotate the forearm. You can rotate the waist. You can bend the legs back, front and back. You can't really bend them out, but you can bend at the knee. You can rotate the leg. You can rotate the foot. And you can also bend the foot up and down. So you get lots of articulation. I just don't. This little loop here on the cape, and more importantly the removable helmet, of how quickly it can come off, is a bit of an issue for me. I prefer just a regular Vader, and I think that maybe would have been a route they should have gone with, perhaps releasing this guy. Still though, for what he is nice, and I think he should. I think he should be added to any really Star Wars collection out there, especially ones if you are looking for one with a removable helmet. This is a figure to get. I'm going to give Darth Vader here, I'm going to give him a 7. He could be better, but it also stems only from the fact that I don't have any other Vader. So, hope you guys enjoyed it. Today's Toy Spot, we were looking at the Star Wars Empire Strikes Back Vintage Collection figures, and today we're looking at Darth Vader. And I'll see you guys next time.